Well, welcome back. I am in a forest setting. I am back to camp posting. I am in Missouri, camp posting. The price of gas took me off the road. So, I'm going forward. This will probably be what I'm going to be doing is just camp posting from state to state. At least through the gas prices, and then we'll reconfigure um, if this is viable for me. But I did want to go over my budget and let you guys know. I see a lot of people asking other van lifers, what does it spend? How much does it cost? And this is my personal budget. Everybody's going to be different. Some may want to stay in campgrounds more. Some may want to go out and eat more, um, sightsee more. It's going to depend on the individual. If you spent money on going out to eat when you lived in a house or an apartment, that may be something you want to keep up with. So this is my own personal budget, and it goes from December 26th of 2025, just a few days into last year, and it goes till March 31st of this year. Now, that being said, um, I don't put in what my van payment is because I keep borrowing money against the girl. Um, my insurance cost, because that's going to be different on the vehicle you drive, your driving record, the state you're in, and the insurance company you use. So anything personal like that, my phone, those are things that are going to be up to each individual. So those are not included. So let's get started. So gas being my biggest expense over that 3 months was $984. So that is 4 days at a friend and 2 weeks in Iowa with my kids and grandkids. Um, and I think a couple days in Tennessee. I can't remember. I'm in Tennessee quite a bit anymore. So $984. I generally budget $300 a month, so that means I did go over a little bit, but the price of gas. So I was headed to Utah. I made it through Nebraska and said, no, I can't afford these gas prices. So I turned around and come back into the Midwest. Generator gas, $57 for 3 months. That was really good, but I used it very, very sparingly. Um, and you'll see why I was able to cut back on the use of the generator. Personal clean, it was 20 it was $67, and I think I goofed on that. Total was 145, but that includes each month I do pay $26 for um, Planet Fitness. So that 145 includes that, and I think I did that times 4. But generally about $35 a month is what it cost me. Me gifts, $104. That means clothing, trinkets that I want, nail polish, makeup, jewelry, crafts. So anything that for me to keep me entertained is in that. Van gifts, $31, which is not bad. That's maybe, I don't know, sheets or pillowcases or something to decorate with. Um, but I did in January have to buy a new solar panel. That was $556. So that's included on van necessities. And then $100 for oil changes. So, and with me camp hosting, that's going to go down because I'm not traveling as much and using the mileage. Diesel, I've never got my diesel heater hooked up. So cost of diesel was $0. Food, $667. I kind of went over 25's records. Yeah, I am spending a little bit more on food, as everybody is. I budget 200 usually. I started budgeting 250. So I'm kind of under on the food. I'm very selective on what I buy now, just to keep that cost down. But keeping costs down, I need to do it on fast food. $103 in 3 months on fast food. That's just dumb. I did in January $51. I must have been traveling a lot, and I do tend to, when I travel, duck into a fast food place instead of just parking and going back to the refrigerator. Junk food, $105. What the heck? I thought I was doing really good, but apparently not. That is $25 a week on junk food. Eating out for 3 months, $36. Apparently I'm very good at it. And what I consider fast food eating out is you're sitting down in a restaurant. You're not going through a drive-through. Mexico and sightseeing, $79, but that was so worth it. If you watch my video, that $79 was so worth it, and that included gifts I had bought. So that's all I spent in 3 months in sightseeing. I'm very much on free. Propane. Propane was $70. 20 of that I got scammed up in Talingua, Texas. They said, yeah, we'll give you back what you don't use, and they never did. So it would have been $50. And that's not bad. That is for my heat. I was very fortunate this winter and didn't have to use a lot of propane. Gifts, $124. That does include birthdays, Christmas, church donations, homeless if I give some money to homeless or food. So $124. Cigarettes, $237. That's going to depend on the state. Some states it's $3. I smoke very, very cheap cigarettes. Some's like $1.79. Plus I have cut down. I don't know why, but I need to cut down on the junk food. I don't know how I cut down smoking. But that was $237. Usually I budget $120 a month. Laundry, $17. I was very fortunate. I ran across a couple of really clean, very cheap laundromats. And then I always do laundry before I leave my kids or my friends. So that kept my costs down. Cleaning, $10. In January, I really stocked up on cleaning. Started December, stocked up on cleaning stuff, so I didn't have to spend a lot. Same with butane. December, I stocked up on it, so I've only spent $8. And I do cook quite a bit, but the butane seems to last. Water, it was $27. I do like my bottled water. I'm a water snob, so that's all right with me. Pop, $63, and I don't drink that much pop. But I went off Diet Dew and started drinking. When I do buy some is Diet Mountain Lightning, the cheap Walmart brand. It's $63. Between the food, the junk food, the fast food, and the pop, I wouldn't have to camp host. I could travel. So that is my expenses, bringing the grand total to... Okay, I did forget to... Van necessities, $14.34. if you watch my videos prior, you see where I broke down out in the middle of nowhere with 2 flat tires. So that was the cost of tires, alignment. There was an oil change included, I think, in that, and the money to get me out of the remote area back in to a town. So they put 1 tire on, and then I had to buy all new tires. So the total cost was, over that 3-month period, was $2,730. That means it was $910 a month, which is not bad. It's really scraping my budget. So things have got to cut back. The unnecessary stuff. Otherwise, when you figure that is not really out of line to what most people probably spend in a house. That includes my food, my trash removal, sewer, my electricity, my gas, everything basically. So I definitely could not live in an apartment for that. Yes, I do have a van payment, and that's how I paid for the solar and the repairs on my tires and stuff. I've got a really good bank and decent credit, so they're always willing to help me out. And I borrowed a little over to get me through because January was a rough month. So I'm quite pleased. I spend $910 a month to live out on the road. You figure if you lived in a house, probably 500 of that would be utilities. And this includes everything plus my travel, my adventures. Oh, I didn't put in there camping. I did spend $167 on camping, which you that have been with me for years know I don't spend that much. And it was a lot of camping. It was $5 a night, $7 a night, but it was in beautiful places and national parks. So I'm really glad I did. Usually I budget about $100 a year for camping, but it's getting where it's harder to find a place to stay and boondock for free. Depends on where you're at. So that is my budget. If you have any questions, I will try to be as transparent as I can. Um, but just kind of figure what you spend a month if you're thinking about this, what you spend in a house or an apartment, and what you would spend. Not everybody's going to spend that in gas. A lot of people like to sit for several months or several weeks. That is not me. Camp posting's getting it's a little bit hard for me to sit, but I find ways to keep myself entertained, and I try to be in a new area going forward camp posting so I can explore what's around me, to keep that gas cost down. So, in the meantime, travel, explore, keep God in your heart. Thanks for watching.